Geniuses don't think in the same way as others. They make connections invisible to others, and take leaps no one else would dare. Nobel laureate Richard Feynman had a deep appreciation of Euler's formula. Feynman was an undoubted genius, but not genius enough to see that Euler's formula is the controlling equation of existence. Feynman could make certain connections, but not others. He could make certain leaps, but not others. It's curious that even geniuses have their blind spots and prejudices and blinkered attitudes. You would imagine that genius confers a universal talent for out-of-the-box thinking, but it doesn't. Genius allows you a way out of some boxes, while you remain locked in others. Our work is about giving people the means to get out of as many boxes as possible. Our books are full of thought experiments, new connections, new leaps, new viewpoints, new systems, a true glass bead game. Why didn't Feynman see the deeper significance of Euler's formula? Why was the necessary mode of thinking beyond him? Well, let's see what he said about Euler's formula. He wrote, "In our study of oscillating systems we shall have occasion to use one of the most remarkable, almost astounding, formulas in all of mathematics. Straight away, a problem arises." Feynman refers to oscillating systems, as if there is a dualism of oscillating systems and non-oscillating systems. A question that a genius should ask is, can everything be regarded as oscillating, even those things that don't seem oscillatory? Can we unify everything and derive the non-oscillating from the oscillating? Feynman wrote, "From the physicist's point of view we could bring forth this formula in 2 minutes or so, and be done with it. And this, the master equation of existence, would be dismissed in an instant, as nothing but an interesting formula." This is a key point. It's so easy to look at the most important equations of all, and not recognize them in any way for what they truly are. Even Euler himself looked at Euler's formula and didn't have a clue what he was dealing with. He couldn't see it as anything other than a wonderful mathematical abstraction. It would simply never have occurred to him to consider this formula ontologically. There was no precedent for such a conclusion in the intellectual climate of his time. There remains no appetite for such ideas in the present day. Feynman wrote, "But science is as much for intellectual enjoyment as for practical utility, so instead of just spending a few minutes on this amazing jewel, we shall surround the jewel by its proper setting in the grand design of that branch of mathematics which is called elementary algebra." That's the right spirit, but Feynman should have gone so much further and deeper. Feynman wrote, "Now you may ask, what is mathematics doing in a physics lecture? Because you couldn't do physics without mathematics. Because physics is actually a version of mathematics, not something different from mathematics." Here we have a defining problem for Feynman and his ilk. They see physics as dealing with concrete reality, while they see mathematics as an abstraction that is not about reality. A genius would immediately start wondering if mathematics was in fact about reality too. But no scientist seems capable of having this thought. This connection is beyond them. This leap is beyond them. That's why these people are not true geniuses. Feynman wrote, "We have several possible excuses. First, of course, mathematics is an important tool, but that would only excuse us for giving the formula in 2 minutes. So, mathematics is dismissed as a tool." It never occurs to Feynman that mathematics is much more than a tool. It's what existence actually is. It's the ontology. Feynman wrote, "On the other hand, in theoretical physics we discover that all our laws can be written in mathematical form, and that this has a certain simplicity and beauty about it. Why does it not occur to Feynman that you can't just ignore the fact that all laws of physics can be expressed mathematically? What, is that some miracle? If it isn't, there must be a sufficient reason for it, and the only reason why mathematics can express any laws of physics, reality, is that reality is actually mathematical, not physical." Feynman wrote, "So, ultimately, in order to understand nature it may be necessary to have a deeper understanding of mathematical relationships. Not, maybe. Is. Nature is mathematics, and the curious thing is how something else, physics, has been claimed to be about reality. Why can't people detect mathematics all around them? Why do they instead detect physics? Pythagoras, an astonishing genius and the first true mathematician, did see that everything was math. But the atomists didn't. They imagined everything as physical atoms moving in a non-physical void. Thales thought that everything was about water, Anaximenes that everything was about air, Heraclitus that everything was about fire. These are all physicalist notions. Plato and Aristotle talked of matter and form. So, here we have the idea of something physical, matter, accompanied by something non-physical that organizes the physical, form. Matter is sensible and form is intelligible. Science, although it doesn't realize it, is a continuation of this way of thinking. Science believes in something real and sensible called matter, and something unreal but intelligible called mathematics, which serves as the form for matter. Over and over again, we see dualism rearing its head. With science, we have a very strange dualism, that of the real and the unreal, matter and math. For Plato, form was the realest thing of all, and the domain of forms was, logically, an immaterial singularity outside space and time, since this domain was completely separate from that of matter. Aristotle imagined a perfect immaterial God of pure actualization, matterless form. Descartes came up with mind being unextended and matter being extended. Leibniz saw, with the labyrinth of the composition of the continuum, that extension was something without true reality, and reality was in fact all about unextended minds, monads. Why aren't scientists such as Feynman required to respond to all of these ideas and disprove them? But they just ignore them, or dismiss them as philosophy and metaphysics. Plato and Aristotle saw form as ultimate reality and matter as something somewhat unreal, without true being. Matter was associated with potentiality rather than actuality. For science, matter is absolutely real, though no one can define it, while mathematics is deemed an unreal, man-made abstraction. Any intelligent person can see that there is an extraordinary logical tension here, and it all relates to what is real, mathematics or matter. It is 100% imperative to reach a definitive conclusion about this. We have. Science emphatically hasn't. Feynman wrote, but the real reason is that the subject is enjoyable, and although we humans cut nature up in different ways, and we have different courses in different departments, such compartmentalization is really artificial, and we should take our intellectual pleasures where we find them. It's true that compartmentalization is artificial. So what is the unitary, monistic truth? It can only be math. Math makes perfect sense without matter. Matter makes no sense without math. So which is self-evidently foundational, and which isn't? Why didn't Feynman take intellectual pleasure in seeing reality in terms of the ultimate intellectual subject, mathematics?